talking about the Panama Canal cruise today. We're gathering some folks here in the office. As you can see, everyone's getting situated. We've got folks online on the Zoom call, and we've got Dana from Princess Cruises who's here to talk all about this lovely and amazing what do we call it? Transoceanic?
Ocean to ocean.
Ocean to ocean cruise, because we're going from what? LA on the Pacific Ocean, around Central America, through Panama Canal, and then ending up in Miami. So amazing bucket list cruise that we're going to be learning about today. So thank you all for joining us. We're gathering here, so give us just a few minutes for people to get situated, get their refreshments, get seated. We've got a special guest star here, Eric Rosenberg, Sun Tours and Pleasure Bent Tours owner. Folks from Pleasure Bent Tours, good to see you guys as well. We're excited to have this presentation and hear all about Panama. So without further ado, as everyone is gathering, I'm going to pass it over to Dana and then go back to the control room.
Perfect. We want to wait till everybody's seated, or what? We want to do that?
Yeah, you can get everyone to say. You need a water?
I've got one.
Okay.
Right in here.
Yeah, in
Thank
there.
you. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right.
All right. We good?
Sounds good.
Where have you got me here?
Right there. And then you go.
Perfect.
Perfect.
There we go. Awesome. Everybody.
Well, I'm fine. I'm gonna move over. Oh, that's it.
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good?
Not bad.
Got your refreshments. It's a little warm outside. I come from Arizona, so this is a little bit cooler than where I am. It was 114 the past couple of days there. So I got here. Yesterday it said it was supposed to be in the 70s, and I got here today and I'm like 99. I thought I should be quiet. That's still
Yeah.
a lot cooler than where I came from.
But
So,
can you really feel the difference?
I'm sorry.
Can you really feel the difference?
Actually,
from the
yeah,
99?
to 114.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a difference. The car is where you really feel it.
Oh, yes.
When you're grabbing that steering wheel, or, you know, when you're in shorts and you're sitting on that
Yeah.
interior of the car, that's when it
Yeah.
really is special. So, I am with Princess Cruises, obviously, and I'm based in Arizona. I've been with the company about 10 years. My first Panama Canal cruise was actually this itinerary, San Francisco to Fort Lauderdale back in 1985 on Sitmar. If any of you are familiar with Sitmar cruises, Princess purchased them, and it was just such a wonderful cruise. The trip was phenomenal. I can't talk enough about really paying attention when you go through the canal. I was just out of high school. So it was one of those where I was with my parents, you know, they're like, if you want to go on a cruise, you're rooming with us, and this is where we're going. So we had no say, my sister and I, where we were going. And I thought, Panama Canal, what am I go there for, right? Get on the cruise, we go to some Mexico ports, we're going to the Caribbean ports, and then we spend a day going through the canal. And I was up on the deck, got incredibly badly sunburned, so wear a hat and sunscreen. But I was so fascinated with the ship going up and down and moving around through the locks and hearing all of the different people talking about the history and all of that. So if you're history buffs, it's really awesome to follow all that. There's also a lot of things you can find online that talk about it. It's just an amazing experience. You can see by this map here, we have a little dog friend. I love this. I absolutely love that. I love it. You can see by the map here, this is pretty much where we go. So what I say is, where there's a body of water, there's a princess ship. We pretty much go all over the place. And why choose Princess? We are a premium cruise experience. We also have the medallion class. If you've not heard about the medallion, this is the medallion now. This is how you cruise. You no longer get a key card. You get this wonderful little thing here, which is encrypted. What's wrong?
Oh, I'm just going to share the presentation.
Uh-oh. Oh, I thought that was all set up. I apologize.
Nope, that was my fault.
There we are. Okay. Technical. Thank you. So this is the medallion here. It is the size of what? 50-cent piece or something like that. When you actually go into the app and you upload all of your stuff and put in your information and all of that, it all attaches to this medallion, like it used to attach to your key card. Do you remember you used to get a little credit card looking thing? You'd have to put all your bags down and find it in your pocket and put it in your stateroom to get it to open. This wonderful little thing, you don't have to do that anymore. So we'll go into this a little bit further, but this is a big game changer for us because not only is it speeding up embarkation, it's allowing you to really personalize your trip and it's less hassle. It took literally 5 minutes the 2 times I cruised last year in Seattle, which is one of the busiest ports, to get from my taxi cab on the ship with this. So if you cruised before, you know, in years past, you'd have to put your credit card down and they'd have to run it. They'd have to take your picture. You'd have to go through all this information at the pier. That no longer happens because you're doing it all ahead of time. So by the time you have this in your hand, you're just getting to the pier and they're saying, hey, let me see your passport. You tap this on a little keypad and they're, you know, see ya, have a great time. So this is really making a big difference. More technical?
It was showing, that's what. Thank you. Not the notes, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's not showing my notes though.
Okay, you need this.
Scene change presenter view?
Yep.
I know. I think there's usually, 3 dots at the bottom. I thought when you had it up that you can do change it.
Well, the thing that there we go. Okay, so we should do this.
There we go.
And then,
Was that not working when you?
well,
do
but it's sharing your notes screen.
Oh,
That was the issue, right? I don't want, you know, everyone else to see it. See, now we're good.
now you're fine?
Now it's showing that and you can see your notes.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm gonna try and promise no more technical. How's that? I'll do my best. Another thing, the value of a cruise is the value of this versus a land vacation. So those of you that have gone on land vacations too, you know, you've got to pay for your coffee, you've got to pay for your food, you're paying for your taxi cabs, you're paying for all that. And you're paying to get from point A to point B if you're renting a car, taking a train, whatever that is. The beauty of a cruise is you're not. You're unpacking once, you're not making your bed, you can have room service, you don't have to do dishes, and you're not taking yourself from point A to point B. You have someone else doing that for you. So it just is a really nice benefit. And all the destinations, as I showed on that other slide that we go to. Now it's not advancing.
So we have a medallion from another cruise. Do we keep it and use it this cruise or they're just gonna send us another one?
You get a new one every time.
And you
So
know-
it's just like the key card. And the only thing that's on here is your name, the name of the ship and the sailing date. And it is colored to your level with us. So for example, black is elite, you've got platinum, ruby and or gold, ruby and blue. So this is a picture of the vessel, the Coral. She's one of our smaller ships. She's about 2,000 passengers, one of my favorites. I like the layout of the ship. I think it's very easy to get around. You'll notice when you get on board, it's simple, very open and airy. I never felt crowded, even though there's 2,000 guests on there. I never felt like I was, you know, in line for hours on end or doing anything like that. And I'm going to start this little video here. Hopefully you guys can hear it. I think it's up all the way. Yeah. So I don't even have to go any further than that, to be honest, because I was gonna put pictures in here of the dining rooms and all of that stuff, and with that video, I don't even need to do that. So you can see what I'm talking about the ship. She's a beautiful ship. There's so many different options for food. You do not starve. If you've not cruised before, I will tell you there's food at every corner. Not only do you have room service, you've got the International Cafe, you've got the Horizon Court Buffet, you've got specialty dining, you have the main restaurant, pizza, burgers, hot dogs, all up by the pool. You don't starve. And I took my husband on his first cruise, and he's like, well, where do I go? I just want something to eat. And I'm like, yeah. Here's the deck plan. Let's figure out where you want to go. So there's always something going on as far as eating. And then a little bit about our history in the Panama Canal. So it's definitely a destination you want to see by ship. And I mentioned that earlier because you have the locks taking the ship up and down, which if you don't know that when you're going through it is a bit of a shock. And I was a teenager. I didn't have a clue. And I was up on deck, trying to be cool with some of my friends. And all of a sudden I noticed, like walls coming up. And I thought, this is like Twilight Zone, right? I was not aware that the ship was starting to pass through the lock. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And we have a lot of diverse itineraries. We have itineraries that go out of Fort Lauderdale to see the canal. The one you guys are doing is my favorite because you're seeing the most, the ocean to ocean. You're seeing the old locks and the new locks. If you go to Fort Lauderdale round trip, you're only seeing one set. So I love this itinerary because you get a little bit of Mexico, you get Panama Canal, and you get some of the Caribbean as well. And flights are simple. San Francisco's a hop, skip, and a jump, and Florida's not that bad either. So it's a really nice one. And the Panama Canal is one of the wonders of the world. So it's pretty amazing. You also have live narration from the bridge while you're going through the canal, explaining to you what's happening, when it was built, how many gallons of water go through it. It's just, it's absolutely fascinating to me. And why sail with us? So we've been going through the canal since the 60s, and we hold the biggest market share. So we really kind of have the most people that go through the canal go with us. And the entire fleet, this is something that I think is really awesome. Our new ship that just came out, the Sun Princess, which is our largest ship as part of the Sphere class, and then the sister ship to that, the Star, are both built to be able to sail through the canal. So when they first announced these mega ships for us, I thought, oh no, they're not going to be able to go through the canal. It's my first thought. And when I actually got this presentation, I thought, oh, this is so cool to know that they had that in mind, because the ship that just came out, the Sun, is 4,300 guests. So she's a lot bigger than what we have. I hope we don't go any bigger. The sister ship's the same. Yeah, I'm good. I don't want to go on 8,000 passenger. It's too much for me. Just a little too much for me. So a couple of different things. You have the engineering, I talked about, talking about the canal and when it was built and the history. And then you have the rainforest and the wildlife. So in Puerto Rico in particular, if anybody likes sloths, and I'm fascinated by sloths, I think they're so ugly that they're adorable. I know that doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
but I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's really ugly. And I thought, no, it's so cute.
It's so cute.
And when I was on this trip in the 80s, we were in Cartagena and there was a gentleman at the pier for $1. He said you could hold the sloth by its hands and have your picture taken. You know, and my mom's like, don't touch that, that's dirty. And I said, I'm touching it. It's how it is. It's just how it works. So I grabbed this creature and it was absolutely fascinating to me. It felt like a Brillo pad. I had no idea what the fur would feel like, and I thought it would feel like cat fur. No, it was very rough, and then it had like big, gigantic
Yes,
hooks.
yeah.
So the guy said, just hold it here and don't go lower because it will try and climb on you and stuff. So I should have put the picture in here. So I'm holding this thing like this, right, with this weird look on my face because I think I was terrified. But that is what created my love of the sloths. One of my coworkers actually went to the sloth sanctuary in Costa Rica, and she came back and she was going to do a presentation of her trip to all of us on the team. And it was 50 slides. And I swear to gosh, 40 of those slides were a baby sloth on the ground with a ball and then holding it and sitting in a chair. And all of us are like, what about the ship? What about the destination? She goes, no, this took over, completely took over. So if you're into animals, I would highly recommend doing that. It's evidently an amazing experience. And then also the culture of the different places that you're going. So you're going to find different things going on the Mexico side, different things going on the Caribbean side. It's just a nice experience. Talked a little about the engineering. This fact I found amazing. It takes 52 million gallons of water from Gatun Lake to fill each law. So I had to sit on that for a minute because I thought, wow. And if you've not cruised the canal and you're doing this, remember that, because as you sort of approach it and kind of get there, to have that in your head completely changes the perspective on what you're doing. So 8 to 10 hours to transit the entire canal. And then we have live narration from the bridge. So my understanding is that we're one of the few that does this, which I find just incredible. If you're going through something like this, you would want live narration for sure. This is what got me through the day of knowing what I was looking at, was having someone tell me what I was seeing. And it is one of the greatest man-made wonders of the world. So you'll notice the difference between the old locks and the new locks. I've not seen the new locks, but I've talked to people who have. The old locks have got all kinds of trees and all kinds of foliage going on, and the new ones don't quite have that as much yet. Eventually, they'll both come up to speed, but the difference I think will be interesting. And I talked a bit about the rainforest. You've got, again, amazing wildlife. You've got birds. You've got, of course, the sloths, all different kinds of things going on there. The tropical climates, wildlife that is specifically for that area. So if you're into certain types of birds or butterflies or any of that sort of thing, I would take a look at the port you're going to and some of the excursions and see if any of those touch on exactly what you want to see. And again, you can see that sloths at the bottom. It's a big deal. We love our sloths. Oops.
After you, at the various stops, long enough to take a trip, side trip.
Yeah, we're going to go over some of the most popular excursions.
Okay.
Yeah, again, it depends on really what you want to see. I've just kind of composed some here that are the most popular. A lot of them are historic type things, or you don't have to. If you just wanted to take, you know, a shuttle to get into town, you can do that too. It's completely up to you. So every single Panama Canal cruise stops at UNESCO World Heritage Site. The cool part, as I mentioned earlier, you've got Central America, South America, Mexico, and the Caribbean all in one cruise. So because you're doing all of that loop all the way, you're seeing a whole lot. And a map will come up here in a second so you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so you can see where it goes. This is Los Angeles, but from San Francisco is pretty much the same thing, going down the coast, around through the canal, and then up. So we call it ocean to ocean because it's Pacific Ocean to Atlantic Ocean. And you can
make a stop, excuse me, will it make a stop in LA coming from San Francisco?
I do not believe so, no. You have a day at sea there. It goes from San Francisco to Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see this picture here on the top left. That is obviously actually the ship starting to transit. So you can see, kind of see what you're seeing on both sides. And then the bottom picture obviously isn't like a drone or an aerial shot of the ship going through. And then this here talks about the trip itself. So the nice thing is you guys are flying to San Francisco a day before, which I think is amazing.
Right.
So you're gonna fly to San Francisco, you're gonna be picked up at the airport, you're gonna be taken to a San Francisco hotel, you're gonna spend the night. You can go explore the city if you want, or you can do nothing, whatever you'd like to do. The next day, you'll be transported from the hotel to the pier. And then you will board the ship and then come back from Fort Lauderdale on the 5th of February. So you're basically getting all of that inclusive thing, which is great. To fly from here, San Francisco, night before, you don't want to get in the day of, you know, with the airline schedules nowadays, you just don't even want to play around with that. So there's a lot of things you can do in San Francisco, you know, depending on which hotel that they choose to put you in. That's something that I'm sure the agency will work out, and yeah. But that's a nice thing to have too, is think, okay, well, I'd love to be able to just see, say, a little bit of San Francisco. So you'll have one night there to do that.
On that one,
I'm sorry?
that sail under the Bridge of America between North, where, what is that? I don't think I've.
It's not pointed, yeah, it's not pointed out here. I can see if I can find it online when we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't.
It's usually pointed out in that map, but it is not. And then the inclusions I mentioned from Albuquerque to San Francisco, and then from Fort Lauderdale back to Albuquerque, all airport, hotel, and ship transfers. Baggage handling at the hotel, obviously baggage for the flights, that would be on your own to pay the airlines if you have to check bags. Then you have the 16-night cruise with all food or all meals on board, in addition to specialty restaurants, if you wanted to do that, that you can pay an upcharge for to go to. Then you have the gratuities, except for the excursions or special services. You have an escort as well from Sun Tours, which is great. And then government fees and taxes. So-
That's one piece of one. So that's all the, that's plenty.
That's baggage handling at the hotel. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just gonna say.
You're gonna be gone for that amount of time and you just get one piece.
You know, and they have laundry. Oh, okay.
I overpack. Does anyone else here overpack, or is it
I
me?
always do.
And.
My husband does that. He points at me when someone asks that too. I'm notorious for saying, well, I know I'm gonna wear it. And then I come home and I'm like, these 5 things never got unfolded.
Right.
I never wore them. Next time I'll be better.
The trick is
No.
to pack 3 or 4 days ahead and have your suitcase open and walk by and. Because then you look at it and you go, I'm really not gonna want that for you.
Oh, I'm gonna try that.
Uh,
I'm gonna
no,
try that.
I pack a week or 10 days in advance, but I
Yes.
don't do that part very successfully.
Let's mention for the people online that, you know, not only do our Albuquerque passengers depart from Albuquerque, but our Tucson passengers will do round trip. Tucson.
Oh,
Tucson.
fantastic. So I do want to mention too, while this says airfare from Albuquerque to San Francisco, it is also for Tucson guests. So any of you online here, Tucson, you guys are covered as well.
Excuse me, of the baggage still, I thought we were allowed 2 on the ship.
This is just the hotel. If you notice, it's baggage handling at the hotel. It's just, so if you have more than that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is a gratuity to the bellhop. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so if you have more bags than that, you would be responsible for doing any extra tip. Sun Tours has covered a 1 bag tip to the bellhop. Does that make sense?
I really, really highly recommend one
Yeah.
checked bag because you can't handle 2 checked bags.
Well, we couldn't handle the big one, so we got rid of the big one and now we have 2 smaller. They're so,
You know,
the 50.
It's always something, right?
It's
I know,
always-
I know, I
So
know.
I have to go buy big ones.
Yeah.
Or borrow more you too. About that.
And then the highlights, of course, one of the big highlights is the canal itself, actually. But you have the 16 nights aboard the incredible Coral Princess, which if you have not cruised before, has everybody here cruised? Okay, so you guys know what goes on during the day. You have not.
Not on ship.
Were you in the military?
No.
How did you cruise?
It was 4-masted, whichever schooner in the cruise. And I was sick most of the time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No big deal.
It sounded wonderful until you said the sick
Well, it
word.
was. I met the interesting people hanging over the side.
Oh,
You bonded. Yeah.
yeah, that is a bonding experience. No kidding, no kidding. So you have the 16 nights on board where, you know, at nighttime, you've got shows happening, you've got the casino if you want to do that. You have movies in your room, you have movies under the stars. There's all different kinds of things to do on board. You can participate or not, completely up to you, which is one of the things I love. If I see something that I go, you know what, there's 15 things going on and I like this one, And the rest of the time, I'm gonna go sit in a bar somewhere with a book or whatever I'm gonna do. That's the beauty of being on a ship, in my opinion. You can participate all you want, or you can do absolutely nothing and just unwind. You also have a spa. Let's not forget about the spa. The spa is amazing, absolutely amazing. So you have the amenities. We talked about the food, obviously, Vegas style casinos, shops, art gallery. You saw that in the video. Musical productions. There's hot tubs up on the top deck where the pools are. The sanctuary is an adult only, very, very cool relaxation place, which is connected to the spa. And then you also have the different ports. So you've got Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, the actual canal, and then Cartagena, Colombia. So this next video I'm going to show, I believe, goes into more detail on the canal.
On those ports, are they almost always a full day or not? Usually.
So that gave a really nice overview of kind of what it's like, kind of looking going into the canal, and also touched a little bit on the excursion. So you can see in Costa Rica, you have the sloths, which I mentioned. You also have the macaw sanctuary. So if you're into those absolutely beautiful parrots and so forth, you can go and check all of that out. So you're going to get a lot of animals, a lot of wildlife stuff, if that's your jam. I always like to see stuff that isn't normally where I live. So if I can go somewhere and see some animal that I would not see in Phoenix, I'm all about it, right? Why would you not do that while you're traveling? It's part of the fun. So this here, and the agency actually has this this entire presentation. So if you wanted to get just a copy of some of these excursions so that you can take a look at them once you're booked in your cruise personalizer and really get the details on them, these are the top rated excursions that we offer. So you have the Panama Canal Railway and new locks of the canal expansion and a dome car. You have the rainforest aerial tram. Does anybody here do aerial trams? Yeah, I don't do aerial trams. I've done them a couple times with my eyes closed, and people have to take a picture of me with my eyes closed because I'm afraid of heights. But I can't be the one that says I'm not doing it. So I figure if I just close my eyes and let my heart pound out of my chest, it'll be over soon. And I have a picture of myself with my eyes closed. And then on the actual transit, you can see you remain on the ship during the 8-hour transit. So it is an all-day thing. I cannot stress enough, big hat to cover yourself and any kind of sunscreen. I am Irish and I did not have sunscreen on. I had a little tank top on, and that night I was blistered. It was not okay. So when I went again, I almost had an umbrella over myself because I did not want to experience that again. So you definitely want to make sure that you do that. You have the live narration throughout the entire transit, so you do not miss anything. And then you transit 3 locks. So you have the old, the new, and then a smaller set as well. So you can see just how cool it is with that picture there. It's absolutely amazing. And then Punta Arenas, you have another aerial tram, Butterfly Garden and the Sloth Sanctuary. Then in Cartagena, what I did in Cartagena was the fortress. And it was actually pretty interesting, I thought. Very different, very historical. The next time I went, I think we did the old city tour. So again, it's what tickles your fancy. You know, if you're into history, you're gonna go through the excursions and go, I want all the ones that are historic. If your thing is animals, you're gonna go through those excursions and say, I want all the ones that touch on animals. So definitely take a look at them once you get yourself booked. You can go into the cruise personalizer and actually look at the excursions, get the details on it, and pick and choose which ones you want to do. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's included in your group pricing. So this is one of our bundles, as we call it. It's the Plus package. And what this includes is the Plus beverage package, which is your alcohol beverage, non-alcoholic. It's your coffees, your water, mocktails. It's up to 15 alcoholic beverages per day per person. It includes, I know that's a lot. It includes, yeah, I know. Well, so the funny part was when this first came out, all of us went, excuse me? And we sat down, for me, because I'm not a big drinker, I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way that I could drink 15 a day. So that's what it is. Your water and all that stuff is unlimited. And then you have your Wi-Fi for one device, and then you have your stateroom gratuities. So in addition to that, you have your casual dining menu, which is 2 options in several of the restaurants that offer, usually have a cover charge of $14.99. You will get 2 of those during your cruise. If you go pizza, you want to go up to the top deck to get your pizza because it's still complimentary. If you don't want to do any of that kind of stuff, like if you use your 2 and you go, I'm fine, you can go to the buffet, you can go to the Lido area for food, you can do the dining room and all that. So you don't have to do any more than the 2 that are included in your package. The juice bar, they will tell you exactly where that is when you get on board. It's usually near the gelato, and that's where they do fresh mixes of juices, which is really nice. Fitness classes. So I'm one of those, I have every intention when I get on board a ship, I want to go see the gym. I know people are laughing, but I just go, oh yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, I found it.
And I say, you know what? I work out at home almost every day. When I go on vacation, I really don't want to do that. I just don't. So I always go, yeah, there's the gym. Cool. I don't think I've ever set foot in one and actually got on any piece of equipment. Premium desserts, if you have a sweet tooth, these are in, if you remember the old time, very tall glass fountain glasses, they're shoved with ice cream, whipped cream, Jimmy's, jujubes, gummy bears, you name it. Whipped cream on top, cherries. I saw a woman that had 2 of them, and she must not have been taller than 5 feet. And these things were like this. She was holding both because you get 2. She wanted both. And every day I saw her there. And by the end of the cruise, I said, how are you doing this? How are you eating in the dining room, having dessert, and then later I'm seeing you every day with those 2 big desserts? And what did she say to me? I would have in the gym. So I went, I'm not going to ask anybody anymore. Not going to ask. Room service delivery. So you do not have the room service charge. There's a charge if you don't have one of our bundles. So that's included with your group pricing. And then the Ocean Now delivery, which is if you're out by the pool in one of our beautiful teak deck chairs, and you see that there's no other free chairs and you want something to eat or you want something to drink, you can use your smart device and you can order it right on your smart device and it's brought right to you. So that's another benefit to this medallion.
What is
Yeah.
the casual dining again?
I'm sorry?
The casual dining, what was that about?
So the casual dining, we have several restaurants. They're different on every ship. So there's 2 or 3 restaurants that used to be complimentary that now have a set menu. And it's called a casual dining menu. And I think it's about $14.99. The best one is in our pizzeria, which Alfredo's is on most of our ships. It used to be complimentary. You'd get this huge pizza, and it was just great. You could have a salad, you could have whatever you want. Now they've added a $14.99 cover charge to that, so to speak. So the majority of our guests get a bundle, so they don't pay attention because they're not charged that. So it doesn't apply everywhere. It will be very noted if you go into a place and want food. One thing I want to talk about too, about the delivery. So just to give you an example, I was with a bunch of people and we were in a lounge and we wanted to go get a different accessory for our medallion. They have them in like almost like an Apple Watch little thing that you can have. And I walked over to where it was and I said, it's like 20 deep in line. So I went back to the lounge and my coworker said, pull out your phone. Let's order it on the app and see if it shows up. So sure enough, we ordered it on the app. I saw the person with a little bag looking for me, right? Based on what I ordered on my medallion and her iPad and my photo. And she went through the lounge and she was navigated right to me to give me my little bracelet. And I didn't have to leave. So you can do that with things in the gift shop when they're open. You can do that with food. You can do that with drinks. Which again means you're not waiting in line, you're sitting, you're relaxing, you can order things where you are. So it's really allowing you to customize your trip. It's a great, great benefit. And then there's currently a cruise sale going on right now. So this particular departure is a $200 per person deposit. If you book within a certain time frame, you get the onboard coupon booklet, which gives a lot of savings on board, some 2-for-1, some discount in some of the shops. That's something you want to talk to one of the agents about. And then also if we have any military, do we have any military in here? Thank you for your service. This is something that we offer that I'm very proud of. That's my dad there, back in the Army in the 50s. So we offer up to $250 in onboard credit to our active, retired, and veterans. It's a very simple thing to do. You do it online. It's a third-party verification process. Once you're verified, that gets attached to your past guest number with us. And anytime you cruise, you get this onboard credit. It's based on the length of the cruise. So that's why we say up to the 250. So it's our way of saying thank you. So if any of you are online too and have military service, I want to thank you for your service on that.
Thank you, Barb.
I'm sorry?
You've got all the stuff, right?
Pardon me?
You've gotten it before, because you've been on Princess.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, so it's probably already in your account
that
that you're military. If you've received the benefit before,
I don't know if that's there already.
I'm sure it is, I'll look it up, but
okay.
I'm positive.
Okay, thank
And then you know where to go to sign her up at the bottom. Okay, perfect, perfect. And then Terry is going to be your escort, which is going to be great. So she's going to be taking everybody on board, flying with you, getting to the hotel in San Francisco, getting you guys to the ship, and actually traveling with you as well, which will be pretty awesome. So that's it for me. How many of you are already booked here in the room? Okay, one. The rest of you guys, come on now. Chop, chop.
And I am gonna.
Chop,
go
chop.
for that one.
Does anybody have any questions or anything that I can answer? And if I can't answer it, if it's more related to the actual trip, some of the Centaur
I
stuff.
would like to say one thing about Princess and this cruise, it will sell out.
Yes.
And I'm
It
gonna
will?
say, it's
Oh, yes.
absolutely gonna sell out.
Oh,
It sells out
We don't offer
every
them, it's not like a
year.
repeat, it like a back-to-back, it just goes back and forth. There's a couple every year. It's repositioning a ship from the west coast to the east coast. So we insert that canal transit in there to get the ship obviously full of people paying versus just bringing it empty to reposition it. So yeah, it does not happen several times a year, but not a ton. It will fill up.
So, and your deposit is refundable if you change your mind. If you wanna go, you should book it, put your deposit down immediately, because all of a sudden Princess will send us a notification that every room, stateroom category is a guarantee, and we can't assign you a room. And then Princess assigns it. It can be 30 days prior, it can be 3 days prior.
Wow. Or
So if you,
day of.
or day out. So if you want a specific stateroom and you want to know exactly where you're going to be, and please, I don't know if they can hear me on the Zoom. It's really important that this one, I don't say this about any other cruise, but this happens every year with the Panama Canal.
So what we were discussing, if you guys couldn't hear this, was these voyages sell out because they're not. They're-
On this Panama. January 23rd, is it?
It's January 19th through February 5 is this one. So we don't do these like back to back like we would do Alaska or the Caribbean. It's repositioning ships. So the point is very valid that there may be 2 or 3 of these a year going from the West Coast to the East Coast, and they do fill up. They're very, very popular. A lot of people from California book them based in the Bay Area because they only have a one-way flight. So you have a lot of people that go, oh, I'm going to get on that canal because I've only got that flight coming back from Florida. And then the other point is about the guaranteed staterooms. So I highly recommend booking it, getting your deposit in. It's a refundable deposit up until whatever your terms are, up until around final payment. But you get that cabin locked in and you get a cabin assignment. If you get a guarantee, if you're not bothered by it, that's perfectly fine. If you don't care where you're on the ship, that's perfectly fine. If you possibly don't know, you may have some seasickness issues, you want to be in a certain area because you don't want to walk from here to there, you want to be in the center, you want to get that stateroom booked. Because what will happen is if you get a guarantee, you'll get that or better. Well, what that means is you could have paid for a category that's midship And let's say Princess says, well, we're gonna give you a better cabin type, but it's all the way in the front or it's all the way in the back. So you need to be really careful about that. And I say that because I had that happen. That happened a long time ago.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, no way, I booked this, this is gonna be great. This is when I first got into travel back in the 80s. And I thought, I know exactly where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be right in here. Now, it was an inside, so it was down lower in the vessel, but I thought it's dead center. We're gonna check it out. Well, they said, we're gonna give you an upgrade to an ocean view. And it was all the way in the front. And it went like this. And I thought, oh my word, how do I stop that next time? So your point is very valid.
It is.
You definitely want to get yourself locked in. You know where your cabin is. You're comfortable with where it is. If in fact you find down the road, as you said, the deposit is refundable, but do it now while you can get that actual cabin assignment. Yeah, I agree with locking that in for sure.
This is probably a dumb question, but are these waters, relatively smooth? I mean, he does get seasick. So it's sounding like you're saying we should be in the middle, but I'm also.
Even the app,
Mhm.
it's only the very front.
Oh,
Yeah, the very front you're gonna bounce.
Most movement. So from the middle or the back, I've never experienced it, being bad at all.
Mhm.
I've only even felt the movement a couple of times. But we do have things we recommend for someone who gets seasick, go to your doctor and get the patch.
Yep.
And then there's bracelets, and then there's,
The French lady I was next to, when we were both, she had two of them on, she gave me. one.
Ginger.
Yeah.
I did a transatlantic crossing and my husband and I chewed ginger gum.
Ginger and,
Yeah.
meclizine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What? Ginger and what?
Meclizine,
Yeah, I've heard about that too.
it's, over the counter, it's like, it works like Dramamine, but it doesn't make you sleep.
Okay.
and Bonine, that,
Yeah.
we call it Bonine.
Yeah, I like the Dramamine without the hangover is a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. So as far as where to be on the vessel, do you have any issues? I don't get seasick, so, but I have friends that even the slightest teeny bit of motion, they get seasick. I can be bouncing all over the place and it doesn't bother me. The way you were doing it probably would bother me. On a big ship, very different. I don't have any problems at all.
Yeah.
So I usually recommend that you look at the deck plan, you look at the ship in a side view. And if you do a T right where those middle elevators are in a circle, that's gonna be the area where the least amount of motion is.
Okay.
Moving forward, you're gonna get that. If there is motion, it would be that way. Aft, not so much. So if you go mid forward or mid aft, but with that mid in that category, you should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And you also, or the agents here will know that you also always wanna have passenger decks above and below you. Why do you think that is? Passenger decks above and below you, so you never wanna be below the pool.
Well.
Oh.
You never want to be below the shuffleboard or the basketball court or any of that stuff. You want to be sandwiched in between passenger decks so that you don't have a lot of noise. I had deck chairs that I could hear people dragging across the deck and I was out on my balcony trying to relax. And I thought, okay, I haven't had this before. Here's a first experience. I want to make sure that I share this with everyone because I wanted to go out on my balcony. I didn't necessarily want to hear people, hooting and hollering and dragging deck chairs. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the deck plan and working with an agent to get your cabin booked.
And we're always very comfortable.
Yeah, yep, I figured.
and I am assuming that there are elevators to every level.
Yes.
Three.
Three per deck.
Yep, so you have the midship and then you have the forward and aft. Another thing talking about the midship, and not to single you out, but to be in that location, if you wanted to go somewhere forward, it would not be as far. If you want to go somewhere aft versus being aft and having to go all the way to somewhere, it would make it a lot easier just to maneuver for you. Yeah. Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
See, that's a workout right there. That's my logic.
That would be my, then I could have to Sunday.
That's my logic. If you carry little 2-pound weights and you walk back and forth on the ship all day, every day doing stuff, you've done your workout. Anybody else? Any questions or anything? There is a flyer up front, which can be emailed, I'm assuming, to those of you that are online, that goes into nice detail. It's up on the front where the refreshments are. If you don't have one of those, I would highly recommend grabbing one. There's some nice sea days on here. Bring some books, catch some movies, sleep in, whatever tickles your fancy. Love sea days, because you can do nothing or everything.
There's a lot of sea days on this.
Nice. Nice.
Can you say a little bit more about that medallion?
Yeah, absolutely. What would you like to know?
Is that included in this?
Yes, so, if you cruised before, you used to get something that looked like a credit card. And that's how
Yes.
you paid for things on board. You got into your stateroom.
That's all to your.
Everything is now
your
done.
own key.
Yes, everything is now done through this. So on the outside of each stateroom now, it looks like a little iPad. And you walk up to your stateroom, and it recognizes this because you got it on,
Yeah.
and it unlocks your door.
Okay.
So this comes like this complimentary. So you get the lanyard, you get your medallion that you can, pop into here. You can order accessories for it. I will be honest. I did the whole thing about, I want every accessory when we first came out with this. This is the only one I used, the free one, of course. Because the bracelet, I find it doesn't work for me. The other one is a clip that you can have on your collar. The other one is a necklace, which I can't even imagine bending down to do stuff. You have to pop the medallion out every time. This, because of the length of it, you can tap it anywhere you need to tap it. It's very simple. To me, it's just easy, in my opinion.
Is that
Now, we
waterproof?
also.
It is waterproof and it is encrypted. So if you lose it, we had a couple of our employees lost theirs on the beach, God bless them. And they went to try and get back on board and they were like, where's my medallion? So they were able to get them a new one right there, verifying that obviously they were a passenger. The only time this is activated is when you're around a princess staffer on the ship with an iPad. So if you're walking around in port, people cannot get your information off of this. It's activated by a princess staff member with their little iPad looking thing. Another thing I want to mention too, in ports, anywhere you're going shopping or restaurants, look for the medallion in the window of these places because you can have your bill charged back to your stateroom account. So we're adding new things constantly. I'm not going to mention what it is in each port because it seems to change every time we open our mouth. But when I was in Alaska, pretty much every single shop and every restaurant had the medallion in the window. And I could say, oh, just bill my account, my cabin is blah, blah, blah. And they just tapped it and I was good to go. So that makes it really nice as well. Makes it really convenient. So the beauty of this is getting on and off the ship, opening and your cabin door, ordering things from wherever you are. It's just simplicity. It really is.
Your cocktail and your desserts, they walk up to you.
Yeah.
Your photo is on their
Yeah.
iPad and it's it
Yep.
connects to your medallion.
So they know
And
that
they
nobody
greet
else
you.
is charging.
And they'll say, Miss
Do
Tina,
that.
what would you like this evening? And we're gonna be like,
So another thing too, when we first came out with this technology, several of us went around the ship because we thought we could stump the people that created this. Because we thought, well, what if I drop it? And let's say my coworker, Steve, picks it up. And Steve goes into the gift shop and he's like, yeah, I like that $1,000 necklace. Yeah, here's my medallion. And my picture comes up and the girl goes, yeah, you're not Dana. Why do you have her medallion? There you go. So you've got that issue too. So if they're lost, they can't be used by someone else because your photo comes up. Which is nice, I think. I think that's a really
Yes,
good
it is.
thing.
The photos don't lie.
No photo, no shopping. That's how that works.
Well, and as you said, the ship knows that you have left the ship.
Yeah.
And they know when you are back on the ship.
Yeah, and you don't want to be one of those where they're announcing your name 5 minutes before the ship's leaving because you didn't get back on board. So this is, I think, a much better way to track the guests going on and off the vessel, in my opinion. So there's a lot that this does. It's a game changer for us as far as really customizing your vacation. And me, I want to be lazy. I work all week. I'm flying all over the place. I'm doing these kind of presentations. I'm talking to travel advisors. When I go on a vacation, I want to sit and I want someone to wait on me.
Yes.
So with this,
Yeah.
I can sit. I can say, I'd like a hamburger. I'd like a beer. 2 hours later, I think I'd like a Prosecco. 3 hours later, oh, I forgot my sunscreen. Is the gift shop open? I can order my sunscreen and they bring it to me. To me, it's just luxury. To me, it's just phenomenal. And it's all because of this. Yes, it's pretty amazing. Any other questions or anything I can answer? Anybody online that have any questions? Did anyone have any questions?
We didn't see anything in the chat, but yeah, if anyone online has any questions, please pop up and ask now.
I say raise your hand, but I can't see it.
Make sure.
Okay,
that-
maybe not.
I don't think so. I think we might be.
Okay, so I would say to those of you that have not booked, definitely get yourself booked. I would hate to have you go, oh, yeah, I saw that presentation, I think I wanna go, and it's, too late, because now the only thing available are insides all the way forward. You don't wanna do that. You wanna make sure that you're booking what you want. And part of the excitement of booking a trip, I think, is looking forward to it. You have a lot of time to plan and figure it out. I think that makes it really special.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Clothes, weather-wise, what, I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about summer clothes, winter clothes?
This is in January, so we're going, we're trying, oh,
Yeah, I always pack layers. I would always pack comfortable things like cotton things like similar to what you're wearing, and then I'd have a little sweater or something with me. I wouldn't pack big jackets per se. But I would always be sure that if I want to walk out on deck at night, it can be windy and a little cool.
Yeah.
That you have a little sweater of some kind. The ships are air conditioned, which sometimes people are colder than others. Obviously, we can't please everyone, so they try and keep it at a stable thing. I'm usually cold on board, so I usually always have a little sweater or sweatshirt. Comfortable shoes, for sure, comfortable shoes.
Broken into.
Yeah.
You want them broken in
Want 'em
before
broken
you
in.
go.
I should rephrase that. Broken in comfortable shoes. Yeah.
But the point is, we're not going into a winter climate or a extremely hot climate.
That time of year it will not be extremely hot. No, it should be very pleasant, actually. Yeah, that time of year, it should be nice.
And we'll send you information on
Yes.
the average temperatures for
Oh,
that
great.
time of year, and we'll get that information to you prior to you leaving. So that you'll have 2 weeks early, so I can have it. Two, 4 weeks.
We usually do the canal.
I'm sorry?
What is the latitude of the canal?
You can ask me a question I can't answer. I don't know. Oh, someone has an iPhone. Ding, ding, ding. Hold on 1 second. Do either of you know
What is that?
the latitude of the canal?
Those more kids to know each other better.
Yeah, 6 months.
Latitude.
In 6 months, I know, it's coming up soon.
People that are online. are they not-
9.11595.
I met a lady from Albuquerque who's visiting.
You're saying-
9.11595.
She's logged in, from Minnesota and.
I'm walking up to your door, you know, your door,
So I don't think there were people that were from Tucson. Is that right?
Yeah, there are people from Tucson joining here.
And they got the information about the air too, which is good.
Exactly. Everyone, thank you for joining us. I think we're wrapping up here. Thank you for joining us online, and do reach out to us and book this cruise to Panama Canal. It's going to be one that's going to go quick, as you've heard all the wonderful features of it. Thank you for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your day.